He just gave you the most powerful thing he could, because had I done it with Suzanne, we would not have gone through our divorce. And I mean, I'm hearing stuff that she begged me for years. Give me your time. Let's have a day, a week. And I'm always too busy. Always trying to make it up. It doesn't work.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to this channel. Thank you so much that you keep coming back to watch the videos I keep sharing with you guys here on this channel. If you're new here, kindly consider subscribing, and I promise you any video I post will not disappoint you. So I've been following up with the story of Banny Hinns after they were married with Susan Hinns, then they divorced, then they remarried, and I thought this is a great testimony, and that will be a great encouragement to the believers, those who are going through hard time in their marriages. And in this series we have been reviewing and summarizing sermons and teachings that Pastor Banny Hinns went through as taught by Pastor Jimmy Evans. And on this video he hosted his son-in-law and his daughter, who also he was saying that he really wants them to learn the mistakes they committed that led to their divorce, so that they don't repeat the same mistakes in their marriage. So we are going to hear two questions that Banny Hinns' son-in-law asked, and another one that his wife, I think Natasha Hinns, asked, and then we are going to see the answer that Pastor Jimmy Evans said. And the question was regarding balancing between ministry and marriage and family. So let's join them and hear what they have to say.
You guys have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, my question is, for us, we're in our 20s, and we look across the board, and divorce is just so easy. It's so accessible, and the church, the world is just kind of everywhere now. Right. Our question is, we just had a baby. She's 7 months old, as we saw. We've been married for 2 years. Our ministry is starting to blossom. Our schedules are getting jam-packed, and we're trying to work on our marriage, but what are some of the safeguards we can put up to prevent us going down that path slowly, because it happens slowly?
That is a phenomenal question. Okay, it's not what you can make happen; it's what you can keep happening. Okay, disciplines and traditions.
Wow.
See, when you go back into like your calendar as an example, the way to make your marriage work is you go into your calendar and God is first. You're going to worship the Lord. You're going to seek the Lord. That's first. We're not going to give that up for anybody, because that's first. The second thing is your marriage. You put time on your calendar for a date night every week. It's inviolable. You put a family night every week. It's inviolable. We're not giving it up for anybody. Separately. There's a family night for you guys, your daughter, and later when you have more kids for that. We have a family night. We have a date night. And our date night is we're going to date. We're going to get ready and go out somewhere, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to keep our marriage first. One of the things that Karen and I did that was great in our marriage is we would walk together in the mornings when our kids got old enough, and we would pray for 45 minutes, and we would talk for 45 minutes. We did that for many years when our kids were, in their teens and stuff. But these were inviolable things we did. And about every 6 or 7 weeks, we would go, we were broke, but we would drive to the next town and get a cheap motel or something and stay for a couple of days. And my parents would babysit. But it was always on a schedule. Wow. In other words, it's not, you just don't wear yourselves out and then try to take 3 or 4 days to get it back. That's what a lot of people do.
Right.
On our calendar, these are inviolable traditions that build success, and it means nothing is ever going to come before our marriage. One of the things that we did that was so terrible is we had this season thing, and we would say this to ourselves: we're just in this season. We're just in this season of kids. We're just in this season of ministry. But when we get through this season, it'll be better. That is a lie. If you can't love each other today, you can't love each other. And the lie of tomorrow is the greatest lie in the world. It'll be better tomorrow. Once we get through this, it'll be better. No, it won't. So the traditions and the disciplines. For an example is the Lord. See, when I give the Lord the Sabbath, when I give the Lord the tithe, and when I give the Lord the first of my day, He always stays first.
Wow.
He gets the first of my time. He gets the first of my talents. He gets the first of my treasure. Jesus said, wherever your treasure is, there will your heart be also. The word treasure there is interesting. It's the word thesaurus. It doesn't mean treasure. It means where you put your treasure. It means a treasure chest. And the word heart is the word cardia, which means passion. Wherever you're investing yourself, that's where your passion's going to be. So when you invest yourself in God first, A person who gives to the Lord never struggles as much with backsliding as other people, because your passion and your treasure are always together. When you're constantly investing in your marriage, it stays first. Doesn't mean you never struggle, but you don't struggle as much. And you have many more positive emotions. Don't ever give your marriage up for anything, and get your calendar out proactively, not reactively. Put down on your calendar, these are inviolable, these come first, and other people call and other things happen. Well, you see if they fit in. But once your calendar fills up, don't give up God and don't give up your marriage for anything else.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's so powerful. I think what I'm getting from what Jimmy Evans is sharing is you have to be very intentional. Like, once you've put God first, then your family should be second. And there's a difference between putting God first and putting ministry first. When you put God first, it's all areas of your life. So ministry, if you put ministry before family, you will fail on your marriage. But you should put God first only, and then be very intentional about it. So let's proceed with the video.
He just gave you the most powerful thing he could, because had I done it with Suzanne, we would not have gone through our divorce. And I mean, I'm hearing stuff that she begged me for years. Give me your time. Let's have a day, a week. And I'm always too busy. Always trying to make it up. It doesn't work.
Yeah, man, this is so good of Pastor Banny Hinns. Like, he's confessing and taking responsibility of his failures in the 30 years that he was married to Susan Hinns before they divorced. And I think this is very good even for his kids, so that they get to learn that it's the small mistakes, the small things that we ignore, that will lead to such things like divorce or your relationships or marriage having problems. Let's continue with the video.
Pastor Jimmy, how about time alone? I mean, I know we all need it, but how do you do it with Karen?
Well, when we wake up in the morning, you're talking about like your prayer time?
Yeah, prayer time or taking off. I mean, you probably don't play golf anymore, do you?
I do play golf, but it just doesn't come before my marriage. We just have a rhythm to our lives to where when I wake up in the morning, I spend time with the Lord, okay? And then, I do what I do during the day in ministry, and then we have our time in the evenings. Of course, our kids are grown, and so that's a lot easier. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Yes, you are.
Okay. And so, but what happens is we have our date night, and which is a lot easier now that the kids are gone. We have an empty nest. But we had the traditions. We had date night. We had time that we got away. We found that those times about every 5 or 6 weeks that we got away were some of the most important times in our marriage. We also got up in the mornings, as I said, and we walked. We would get up every morning when our kids were old enough to be in the house by themselves. We walked for an hour and a half. And we would talk for 45 minutes and pray for 45 minutes. And those were some of the best times we ever had. Wow. And so that's what we did.
That's amazing.
You've given us some tremendous advice. Are there any more questions, kiddo?
I have one.
Go ahead, Del.
For young couples that are about to embark on this new journey of marriage, like for me, I was the young girl. I stayed pure until I met my husband. Had no idea what to expect when it comes to marriage. Had this fantasy of, what you dream of as a little girl, of all my dreams are going to come true, my Prince Charming. And then you get married and you're like, okay, reality hits. This is not at all what my dreams were like. What tips would you give to young couples? Like, we never got marriage counseling before we got married. Like, it's kind of going back to the beginning for us, because we're just there now. What would you say to us as a young couple?
Well, get marriage counseling, but the other thing is, don't listen to the lies, those romantic misconceptions, the happily ever after thing. It's so prevalent, and we want to believe it. It's a lie that we want to believe, and that is the wedding ceremony is going to fix everything. We're going to live happily ever after. Get pre-marriage counseling and understand it's going to be work. There's going to be a lot of sacrifice required. You're going to have completely different needs. But the more you work at it and the longer you're together, a marriage is like two rivers that come together. There's a lot of turbulence at the beginning, but the longer you stay together, the better it gets.
Ooh, I like that.
You've already been through the hard part. It'll get better and better and better.
Nice. First point, he might have said it in passing, but it's very important. Don't ignore marriage counseling. Sometimes a little help helps. So if you're struggling, don't be so rigid. At least get to hear what advice someone can offer to you guys that probably can help you realize some of the mistakes you're making, and probably lead to the healing of your marriage or your relationship. Okay? It can only get better with intentionality. So, and take the bad times, bad moments, disagreements time, conflict time as moments of learning and getting to know each other and growing. Like personally, in my marriage to my wife, I've noticed that what we used to argue during our first year, it's never a problem anymore. So sometimes you may argue about a thing for very long, but then I realize later, wow, what were we arguing really about? Because you outgrow some of these things and you get to learn. So thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. Kindly, if you have not subscribed, consider subscribing, and I hope you have learned valuable lessons that if you implement in your marriage, in your relationships, you're going to enjoy them. Thank you so much, and see you in my next video.